Jeremy, we'll go live.
We are live.
Okay, welcome everyone. Welcome to our June 9th school committee meeting. First off on the agenda, I would like to welcome our two new school committee members. We have from West Greenwich, we have Donna Gamache Griffiths. Donna was appointed and sworn in on May 12th by the West Greenwich Town Council. And I'll just do a little bit of an introduction. Donna does have a son in our school district. She's a professor at URI and a member of the Rhode Island Bar. In addition to her Juris Doctorate degree, she just earned her PhD. And I'd like to welcome Donna, and I look forward to working with you.
Thank you. I'm very happy to be here.
Thanks, Donna. And then I'd like to welcome our new member from Exeter, John Holderman. John was appointed by the Exeter Town Council, I believe, on Monday, and he was sworn in. And John, I'm going to turn the floor over to you for just a bit. If you wouldn't mind introducing yourself, that would be fabulous.
Great. Yeah, happy to be part of the council and part of the community. Moved here 6 years ago. My wife and I also have a son in the school district and a daughter not far behind. So we're happy to be here and excited to be part of the committee. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Welcome, John.
Thanks.
Okay. We do have one of our teachers, Amy, our science teacher. Amy, I apologize if I wreck your last name, but Biagioni.
Very good, actually.
Is that close? Okay, good.
That was really good.
Okay, good. And then, and we have some of our students on. So if we could have a motion to move up on the agenda, 6A, recognitions and achievements, Rhode Island Regional High School Simulation Wind Turbine Competition with Kid Wind Award recipients. Okay, we have a motion.
Second.
Okay, motion moved by Monroe and it was seconded by
Griffiths.
Member Griffiths. Thanks, Donna. I got to get used to everybody's voices. Okay, I'll take a roll call vote. Member Allen. Where's Diane? Oh.
Thought I was unmuted.
You got
Aye.
it. Yep. Member McFadden.
Aye.
Member Monroe.
Aye.
Member Pasillo.
Aye.
Member Griffiths.
Aye.
Member Holderman.
Aye.
Okay, and I'm an aye. Motion carries. Okay. Okay. Go ahead, Jim.
Thanks. We are really pleased to welcome one of our science teachers from the high school, Amy Biagioni. Amy teaches physics as part of her schedule, and she has worked with this group of high schoolers who entered into the Rhode Island Regional High School Simulation Wind Turbine Competition, and our team placed really well in that competition thanks to the leadership of Amy and the hard work of the kids. So we have asked Amy to come to the meeting, invite the members of the team so that she can tell you a little bit about the kids, what they did, and what amazing award they received. So I'll turn it over to Amy. Thanks for being here, and the floor is yours. Oh,
You're muted, Amy.
you're muted.
Go figure. Typical, I'm going to say Zoom and meeting etiquette, of course. But I was, sorry about that. I wanted to say thank you very much and thank you for having us this evening. So as Mr. Aronaki said, that we are part of the Kid Wind Turbine Competition. So Kid Wind, in partnership with the North Kingstown Chamber of Commerce and their dedication to creating a new pathway for offshore wind energy in Rhode Island, have put together a regional competition for the kids to compete in turbine building. And this year, because of the COVID situation, they took it virtual. And for us, our team, we had 4 members. We have with us tonight is Haley Jo Reese and Nicholas Angel. Haley is a senior and Nick is a junior. Sorry, Nick. And missing from our, I'm going to say our team right now is Malcolm Emery and Thomas Kilday, also both seniors. And the four of them have really made some great accomplishments. Not only did they start off by building a physical turbine, which is still kind of in progress, but they also excelled in the virtual turbine event, and they actually scored first place in the state of Rhode Island. So they were the first place team, which is absolutely wonderful, which qualified them for nationals. In addition, Kidwind opened a virtual competition that was open to the entire world. So it was a worldwide competition, and each one of the team members joined that individually, not as a team. And Haley came in second there in the open worldwide competition. Nick came in third, Malcolm came in fifth, and Thomas came in seventh. So they are doing some fantastic things. Just this past, I'm losing my days now because things have been a bit crazy this week. Just yesterday, actually, we finished the.
It was Tuesday, Amy. It was definitely Tuesday yesterday.
Yes, thank you, because it's been a long week. It's only Wednesday. So just yesterday, they finished up the national competition. So that started off with another virtual competition. And then they also had some instant challenges that they had to do right on the spot. So Kidwind out of Minnesota actually shipped us some materials and said, you can't open this until such and such a time. And the kids were actually able, they broke it open and did a lot of, I'm going to say, investigating and proving some things with some gears. They participated in a quiz bowl. They did the virtual competition. And then they also had to plan out a wind farm using a whole bunch of data and statistics and a map of actually upstate New York. So that was a really exciting thing. So we find out tomorrow night, during the middle of the prom, of course, how they did at national. So fingers are crossed that they did well. They feeling pretty good about that. I don't know if maybe Nick or Haley want to say anything. Would you like to comment about anything with this experience? Maybe tell the folks what kind of things you've been doing or anything like that. I'm putting them on the spot.
Yeah, I'll just say that it was a really cool experience, and I think I definitely learned a lot. And it's definitely been one of the highlights of my year. And I'm excited to hopefully come back and do it again next year.
Awesome, Nick. Yeah, so Nick's a junior, so I got really high hopes for next year. Haley, do you want to add anything?
This is something really cool as a senior to be doing. I mean, I am graduating in like 3 days. I don't know how many, I can't count. So this was actually something that was really exciting and kept me like very interested in school at this time. And I think a lot of kids, once the word gets out, will definitely like it and have some fun with it.
Awesome. Thank you both, Haley and Nick. Thank you both for being here tonight. And I do want to make sure we extend our thanks to the school committee as well for the awards and the gift cards as well. So the kids really appreciated that, especially after the super hot days. I know that they were heading off to go get themselves some iced beverages there from Dunkin'. So that was super awesome of you guys, and we really appreciate that.
Thanks, Amy. And I think it's important that we also recognize the work of Amy, because without her leadership of this team, it wouldn't have been possible. She brought the idea to them and they jumped on board. Amy does some really amazing work in the science department at the high school. And we're super happy to have her back with us, right? Because she left for a little bit of time, but came back and she's here to stay now. So we have, yeah, definitely. So really exciting things. And you know, we take this opportunity to recognize the kids, Amy, but you deserve recognition as well. So thank you.
Very good. Amy,
Appreciate it.
yeah, Amy, I'd like to say on behalf of the school committee, thank you for leading and guiding these amazing students. What a great opportunity, and they obviously represented their school extremely well, and I'm very proud. We're all very proud of them and their accomplishments. Thank you so much, Haley, Jo, Nicholas. I know you're on the meeting right now, so congratulations to the two of you. And I know you got your certificates and your gift cards from the school committee. So enjoy your nights. Amy, thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
Okay. We will go on to our next agenda item. So we got 6A all set. Let's see. And I apologize, I completely skipped over introducing who was on the meeting. So let me just quickly do that. So we have all of our school committee members. We have member Monroe, Pasillo, McFadden, Allen, Griffiths, Holderman, and myself. We have our superintendent, Aronakis, director of administration, Bob Ross, Jeremy Taylor, our director of technology, and legal counsel, Andrew Hennius. I think I got everybody. Sorry about that. Okay. So let's go to 3 on our agenda. We have our school committee organization. So our 2 departing members, one was the vice chair and one was the clerk. So we have elections for those 2 positions tonight. So we will start with vice chair. And I'm going to start off. I'm not going to nominate Andrea Monroe for vice chair. Do we have a second?
I'd like to second that nomination, please.
Member Griffith seconds. Okay. Do we have any other nominations?
Claudia,
Diane? Member Allen?
I'd
Yep.
like to nominate Paul McFadden for vice chair.
Okay, we have a motion for, or a nomination for Member McFadden. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Member McFadden seconded. Okay, all right. I'd just like to say a few words about my nomination for Andrea. So Andrea's been with us about a little over 6 months. She's certainly a quick study. She's always prepared. Her questions are always thoughtful and on point. She participates. She's a very respectful school committee member. She works in education, and she brings a welcoming perspective to all of our discussions. And I'm confident that she can step into the shoes of the chairperson and take on the responsibilities without missing a beat. Member Monroe, would you like to say a few things about yourself?
Sure. Thank you, Claudine and Donna, especially for Don and Donna, but also being newer to the group, I figured I might just provide a little bit of my background, specifically in the leadership realm. So I actually hold a doctorate in educational leadership, and I lead a team currently in higher education in the area of instructional design and digital learning at a university based in California, but soon to become UMass Global. So a nice presence in New England. I also hold a master's in education. So when we're talking about curriculum and things like that, I'm really invested in those conversations and feel like I have good insight to bring to the table. I also have a lot of presence within the school district. My son is also a student in the district. I've been fortunate enough working for a California-based university to work from home. And so I have been present in classrooms since day one. So I have a strong connection with the staff and the students, parents, and teachers within the district. And I, have been able to actually be in schools for a very long time. And lastly, I think I'm already holding some committee positions within the school committee. So as far as my presence go within the school committee, I know 6 months isn't a long time to claim perfect attendance, but I have not missed a meeting. I also am on the capital project committee and am very active within that committee, as well as I was on the reopening committee even prior to becoming a school committee member. So I was highly involved in that process last year. And then I also plan to put my, to offer to be on the charter review committee. So I would be really interested in taking on this role and would do the due justice and diligence to make sure that I'm present and inclusive. Thank you.
Thanks, Member Monroe. Member Allen, would you like to state a few words about not your nomination for Member McFadden, and I'll acknowledge Member McFadden.
Yes, I nominated him because he's been on the school committee for many, many years, and he certainly knows how it runs and how to run meetings. And he has a lot of experience.
Okay, thank you, Member Allen, Member McFadden? Member McFadden, would you like to say a few words on behalf of your nomination?
I'm getting confused with the number, with the pound stuff. Anyway, so I've served over 14 years on the school committee. My first term was started in 2002. I've seen a lot of changes take place in the school department, and one of which is going from a $9 million budget to a $35 million budget. So I've been pretty much involved in government since I moved into the town of Exeter in 1986. I've lived in Rhode Island all of my 63 years, so I'm an old bugger. I graduated from the University of Rhode Island in 1982. I majored in computer science. So I bring a lot of information technology and data statistics to any job that I undertake, and that would include the vice chair position of the school committee. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you, Member McFadden. Okay, let's see. We have our two nominations. Okay, so we will take Member Monroe's nomination first. So we have a motion, we have a second. So I'll take a roll call vote on Member Monroe's nomination. Member Pasillo?
Aye.
Member Allen?
Aye.
I just kidding.
Okay, we're voting on Member Monroe. I just want to remind you
Oh,
of that.
sorry. No, nay.
Member McFadden?
Mike, do you want to vote for Member Monroe for vice chair? Priscilla? Mike?
You're muted, Mike. There
I
you go.
wasn't voting for vice chair.
Member Monroe for vice chair.
No, it's a nay. I'm sorry.
Okay. Okay, so Member Pasillo's a nay, Member Allen's a nay. Member McFadden?
That's a nay, if you can hear me.
Yep, I hear you. Yep. Member Monroe?
Aye.
Member Griffiths?
Aye.
Member Holderman?
Nay.
And I'm an aye. Okay, motion fails. 3-4. Okay, now we'll take a vote on Member McFadden's nomination. We had a motion and we had a second. Member Allen?
Aye.
Member McFadden?
Aye.
Member Monroe?
Nay.
Member Pasillo?
Aye.
Member Griffiths?
Nay.
Member Holderman?
Aye.
And I'm a nay. Okay, so motion carries 4-3. Okay, Member McFadden is our new vice chair. Okay. Now we'll go on to clerk. I'd like a motion to nominate Member Monroe as clerk. Do we have any other nominations?
I'd like to make a motion to nominate Diane Allen for clerk.
Okay.
I'll
Let's go.
second that.
Michael seconded. Did we have a second to Member Monroe's nomination?
I'll second. This is Griffiths.
Member Griffith seconds. Okay. Okay. Diane, I gave Andrea a moment to speak on her nomination for the vice chair. So Andrea, I'm not going to go back to you again for clerk, but Diane, would you like to say a few words on your nomination?
Well, actually, I've been secretary and treasurer for a number of organizations. My church, let's see, actually, when I was on town council for the town council to do executive minutes. So I know how minutes work, executive session works.
Thank you.
May I add anything to that, or do you want to wait?
No, go ahead, Member McFadden.
So I've known Diane for as long as I've lived in Exeter, since 1988. She's been an outstanding citizen in our town. She has been president or chair of the Republican Town Committee for as long as I can remember. She's always there when you need her. She's prompt. She's very detail oriented, and I think the school committee would be very much benefit by her serving as clerk.
Okay, thank you. Okay. I don't see any other hands up. So let's take Member Monroe's nomination, and we had a second for the clerk. I'll take a roll call vote. Member Allen?
Nay.
Member McFadden?
Nay.
Member Monroe?
Aye.
Member Pasillo?
Nay.
Member Griffiths?
Aye.
Member Holderman?
Nay.
Okay, and I'm an aye. Okay, that motion fails 3-4. Okay, we'll have a roll call vote for Member Allen as clerk. We had a motion and a second. Member Allen?
Aye.
Member McFadden?
Aye.
Member Monroe?
Aye.
Member Pasillo?
Aye.
Member Griffiths?
Aye.
Member Holderman?
Aye.
Okay, and I'm a nay. Okay, that motion carries.
Uh,
6-1. Okay, so Member Allen will be our clerk. Okay, we'll go to school committee member.
Congratulations.
Oh, yep, congratulations, everybody.
Thank you.
We go to school committee member assignments. We have 3 assignments that are open with our departing members. We have the West Greenwich Council liaison. Myself, Donna, and Andrea are going to share that responsibility. So Robin, if you can put down the 3 of us in that role, and we'll share that responsibility as needed. And then we have the Health and Wellness Committee. Is anybody interested in the Health and Wellness Committee representing the school committee?
I would be.
I'll do that.
Okay, so we have Member Griffiths and Member Allen, and we can have 2 members on that committee. So you're both welcome to do that.
Oh, great. Thank you.
Jim, does Mary Slattery still lead up that committee? Do you know?
Mary does, yes, one element of that. We also have some work that we do at the district level as well.
Okay, so I'm just asking so somebody can notify Mary and whoever else leads that committee.
I'll take care of that.
Okay, super. Thank you. And then the local advisory committee. Do we have a member that would like to represent the school committee on the local advisory committee?
Could you explain the responsibilities for that?
It's in your packet, Member McFadden. I don't really have more details than that. Let's see. I know the local advisory committee is our special education committee. Jim, maybe you can help me out on that one.
Sure.
Okay.
So this is the local advisory committee, special education local advisory committee, and there's a group of parents who work with the director of special education to have a forum for parents to have voice, to talk about programs, to talk about the offerings that we have at the school, recommend changes, and provide support to each other. With the common, what they have in common is raising children with disabilities. So it's a support group, and Sarah Dents, the director of special education, is the administrator that facilitates that committee with elected members of the group itself.
Thanks, Jim. Okay, do we have a member who would like to serve on the local advisory committee? I know it's important we have school committee representation on that. They do take their roles very seriously, and they do a lot of good stuff.
I can do that also.
Thank you, Diane. Okay, Member Allen will be on the local advisory committee. Okay, very good. Thank you, everybody, for stepping up for those roles. All right, we have number 4 on the agenda. We have the affirmation of the Code of Basic Management Principles and Ethical School Standards. So 4 and 5 are on the agenda. They're usually on for our organizational meetings, but since we have 2 new members, these are on our agenda again. So I'm going to, all the members are going to participate in both votes. So it was in your packet. I'm sure everybody had a chance to read it. So if I can just have a motion to affirm acceptance of the Code of Basic Management Principles and Ethical School Standards.
So moved.
Griffiths moves. Do we have a second?
Second.
Allen seconds. Okay, and I'll take a roll call vote. Member Allen?
Aye.
Member McFadden?
Nay.
Member Monroe?
Aye.
Member Pasillo?
Abstain.
Member Griffiths?
Aye.
Member Holderman?
Aye.
And I'm an aye. Okay, motion carries. And then we have our policy 1401, school committee's public interactions, members' understanding of and commitment to proper decorum as written in section 4. I mean, this is normal. This is done by roll call vote, but since we're in virtual, everything's roll call vote. So if everybody could, well, up to you, but when I call on your name, if you could say, I understand and commit to proper decorum per policy 1404, if you're in agreement with such policy. Member Allen.
I understand and commit to proper decorum per policy 1401.
Member McFadden.
I understand it, and I will not make a commitment towards it.
Okay. Member Monroe.
I understand and commit to proper decorum per policy 1401.
Member Pasillo.
Abstain.
Member Griffiths.
I understand and commit to proper decorum per policy 1401.
Member Holderman.
I understand and commit to proper decorum per policy 1401.
Okay, and I understand and commit to proper decorum per policy 1401. Okay, thank you, everyone. Okay. We'll move on to, 7 is open forum, so a bit late in our agenda, but we had a lot of business to take care of. So if there's anybody in the audience who'd like to speak, so *9, you can raise your hand if you're on the phone. *6 mutes and unmutes, or you can raise your hand on your computer. So comments must be directed to the chairperson of the school committee, who may limit or terminate discussion. No comment should address personnel, litigation, or negotiations as restricted by open meeting regulations. The school committee cannot take action or vote on topics introduced that are not reflected on the agenda. If anyone would like to speak, you may do so now. Okay, we're all set. Okay, we'll go to the consent agenda.
Thanks. Under consent, we have the approval of minutes, regular meeting minutes from May 11th, also executive session minutes from the same night. We have a leave of absence from one of our Wowling teachers. We have 2 resignations. One is an athletic resignation and one is a retirement of one of our Council 94 members. We have an additional job share proposal that was included in your packet. A salary adjustment, an administrative salary adjustment, that is so that we are now in compliance with the adjustment to the policy that the school committee made at its last meeting. And we have our monthly bills.
Okay, so I know we need to pull the regular meeting minutes and the executive session minutes of May 11th, as we have 2 new members, so that they can vote on the consent agenda. And do we have anybody else that would like anything pulled, or any questions or comments? Everybody's good? Okay. So if we can have a motion to approve the consent agenda, less the regular meeting minutes of May 11th and the executive session minutes of May 11th.
So moved.
McFadden moves. Do we
Second.
have a second? Priscilla seconds. Okay, I'll take our roll call vote. Member Allen,
Aye.
Member McFadden,
Aye.
Member Monroe,
Aye.
Member Pasillo,
Aye.
Member Griffiths,
Aye.
Member Holderman.
Aye.
Okay, and I'm an aye. Motion carries. Okay, and then we can take the 2 minutes together, as everybody was present except for our new members. So if I could have a motion to approve the regular meeting minutes of May 11th and the executive session minutes of May 11th.
So moved.
So moved.
Silo
Second.
moves. Do we have a second? McFadden seconds.
Second.
Okay. I'll take a roll call vote. Member Allen,
Aye.
Member McFadden,
Aye.
Member Monroe,
Aye.
Member Pasillo,
Aye.
Member Griffiths,
Abstain because I wasn't present.
Member Holderman,
Abstain.
and I'm an aye. Okay, motion carries. Thank you. Okay, we'll go to correspondence. We have the senior high school important end of year dates and events in our packet, and we have the discipline reports. Any questions or comments on those? And I know Jim wants to speak a bit about graduation. No questions from everybody? Okay, Jim, can you just speak a little about graduation this weekend?
Yes, so graduation is scheduled for this Saturday. That's been in the packet in, I think, for a couple of meetings now. It is at 1 o'clock. It's on the campus of the senior high school, and it is outdoors on the football field. We have a stage set up, sound, and we're ready to go. And we understand that the weather is going to be in the 70s, which is really great, considering the last 3 days. They are limiting the number of participants as much as possible. However, as members of the school committee, if there is anyone who would like to attend, if you could just let me know. We are not participating in any of the distribution of diplomas. That's being limited to just the principal to kind of keep things as safe as possible according to the protocols that we have to follow. I will not be standing up there shaking hands, passing out diplomas either. It's just going to be the principal. So we have been able to invite 4 guests for each of our graduates. And a couple of months ago, it was a possibility that they wouldn't have any guests. So we're in a good place at this point. But I know that we haven't talked about it, and I wanted to make sure that if anyone wanted to attend, I could let the principal know and we could accommodate that.
Very good, thanks. Is there anybody who is going to be able to attend graduation? And if you don't want to, or state it now, or you don't know yet, you can just give Robin a call. Is that okay, Jim?
Yes.
Okay, give Robin a call or send an email. Okay. Okay, we'll go to the 2020-21 budget projection.
Okay, this is the monthly projection. This is June, so this will be the last one before the fiscal year closes and we start to reel in all the open purchase orders and make the adjustments for the end of the year expenses and revenues. But through this month, you can see that the fund balance improved by about another $55,000. I think that's just going to continue to trend upward. I could envision that we would end probably between $300,000 and $400,000 on the Expense side, I don't see a lot of movement on the revenue side. We're monitoring the Medicaid. That looks like it's still below budget, but still on track for the projection. So very good news. If all goes as it holds here, we're in the $1.5 million for a projected general fund balance for 2021, which is excellent considering all the work we've been doing this year.
I agree. Any questions, comments on the 2021 budget? Everybody's good? Okay. Alrighty, we have the monthly subcommittee reports. I don't know that we had any monthly subcommittee reports. We have monthly status reports. Any questions, comments on those? Everybody's good?
Sorry, I'm trying to raise my hand. And
Oh, sorry, Andrea. Sorry. If you just kind of wave around the screen, I'll eventually see your see you. Go ahead.
Okay, I just had a few. Jim, it's really exciting to see that there's over 300 students that are interested in the free summer program to help prevent the additional loss. So thank you again for offering so many options to students they look really fun and engaging and meaningful. So that
We're
looks
really
great.
excited. Really excited about it.
Fantastic. And also, I didn't realize that your superintendent of the year came with a scholarship for one of our students. So that's pretty amazing and was great to read as well. And I did just have a question about the CTE program for next year. Both you and Mary had these on your update, so I figured I would just ask, and whoever is the appropriate one can answer. But I know we had a hold, unfortunately, last year due to COVID. They weren't accepting proposals, and there were a number of proposals on the docket to start moving forward. Have we gotten the green light to move forward with those proposals at this time?
I'm glad that Marie jumped on, because she will probably be able to answer this question better than I. She attends those meetings. Do you know the answer to that, Marie?
Yes. Hello, everyone.
Hi, Marie.
Hello. At this point, what RIDE is saying is that they plan to open the application in the fall sometime. So we're just waiting for that to happen. Stacy Haynes-Main, who is the student support specialist up at the high school, I work closely with her on CTE, and she's been working very closely with teachers to get the materials ready so that when the application does open, that it will not be a burden for us to just, upload the information that's necessary.
That's fantastic. And have we added any other programs this year that weren't on the initial or last year's list?
No, we couldn't add anything new, but we have one, a science one. We've been chomping at the bit, biotechnology. It was lacking just one course. That will be ready to go. We may have a Project Lead the Way program in technology, the technology department. I know that there is in our food service department that Ms. Sedapane is anxious to complete an application, as is in our science department. Ms. Bagioni is anxious to write for a wind, a lot of, not a wind farm, but related to that type of study. So she has been doing a lot of work with kiddos with wind
turbine.
Wind power turbine. Thank you for the word.
We're on the meeting tonight to get recognized, Marie.
Oh, good. I'm sorry. I missed it.
That's the only reason I had the word.
Yes. Thank you, Andrea. And so she's just she's excited about turning that into a CTE program.
Great. Thank you. That's exciting to hear that we'll be able to propose. And that was pretty much it. I just wanted to quickly thank Bob Ross for all of his work on the capital projects. It's been quite a lot since everything has been approved, and he's been having to coordinate and gather information and run around like a maniac, unfortunately, to get us the information that we need and to try to set up meeting times. And we've got a lot of people involved, which is exciting, but it's a lot of work. So I just wanted to acknowledge you, Bob, and say thank you. And that's it for me.
Thank you, Andrea.
Thanks, Andrea. That was a great acknowledgement. Okay, let's see where we are. We're moving along. New business. Member McFadden had requested that the school committee bylaws be on the agenda, so I'm going to recognize Member McFadden to see what his specifics are.
So let me first start by offering a motion. So I'd like to make a motion that has the following change. Article 1, Section 2, Paragraph 2, and I'm going to send this out before, because it's about a paragraph. All offices of the Exeter West Greenwich School Committee shall be limited to 48 consecutive months in total duration. On the occasion a school committee member serving as an officer of the committee reaches or exceeds 48 months of service, the school committee member will be automatically released from the office and its duties for a period of 24 months. The vice chairperson of the committee will assume the responsibility of the vacated office until such time the full school committee membership can elect a replacement member for the vacated office or offices. The duration of the office will be in accordance with Section 1 of the EWG bylaws. Second, the release of the member of the committee may seek election of other vacant offices other than the recently released office without a 24-month delay. Section 4, line 1, add reach term limit before comma death. So under Section 4, we'd be adding reaches term limit and then the remainder of the sentence would say comma death and then comma whatever the other things are. So I need a second on that.
So Member McFadden, we will not be taking any votes tonight on the bylaws. We have review and discussion. I asked you what you would like to discuss regarding the bylaws, and you said it's an important document. I just want it on the agenda. So there's no voting on the bylaws tonight. And I can turn that over to legal and have Andrew give his, and as far as amending bylaws, Andrew, if I'm not mistaken, we're gonna need to look at the amendment part.
Hold it. You kind of captured this conversation, Claudine. So let me raise a point of order at this point. And basically, there's an item on the agenda that was advertised, and it is well within my right to add a motion to be considered for the school committee. I mean, there's none of this business of, we constantly add motions that are not advertised on the agenda. And if you recall my email, it said for discussion, review, and changes. So that's not necessarily how you put it on the agenda, but that's what I asked for. So I'm asking legal at this time, which I think is Andrew Henius, to basically, for his opinion on members of the school committee putting forth motions for vote.
So this
Go
is
ahead.
it's not a procedural issue, Mr. McFadden. It's an Open Meetings Act issue. It's just I'm looking at it as you made the motion, or you asked for the motion. It's down specifically for review and discussion. As opposed to other.
That's not what I said, though.
Mr. McFadden, can I just finish? Thanks. It's just
I'm not going to have you promote something that I didn't say, Andrew.
Well, you're asking if you can make a motion, and I'm saying the item is down for discussion purposes. So I would say no. It's not advertised correctly to make a motion.
I'm sorry, Andrew.
Yes,
We
Paul.
make motions not advertised on the agenda all the time. It's well within our right.
No, we don't.
Excuse me.
Go ahead, Paul.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do.
If listed as an
we
action
modify
item.
the motions, we change the motions,
That's
we add.
absolutely correct.
There you are again, Andrew, interrupting me. Okay.
I apologize, Paul.
Yeah, I know you kind of apologize, but we're not children, and let's not do what this is about. So this is a matter of consideration that I wanted to bring before. I mean, I'm not going to. The matter was in the email. I said we're going to discuss and review and propose changes, Now, that's not how the chairman put it on the agenda, but that's not exactly the request.
So I have your
So I
email in
don't
front of me,
think-
Member McFadden. It says, please put on the first school committee meeting in June, a review/discussion of school committee bylaws. This is important. That
And
is
then
your
there was a
email that I printed
qualifying
out.
email. And then there was a qualifying email. And what was that?
I asked you specifically what you like on it. I did not, and I have to bring that up on my computer. I don't have that in front of me.
Well, there was a qualifying email, and it basically said, I said, everybody has to be prepared to review and select changes. I'm not going to quibble over changes here because I don't agree with that legal opinion of our solicitor, because we make motions and there's nothing that I know of that prohibits any member who has good standing on a public body from making a motion. It was an advertised topic. If you, for instance, decided that the topic was not on the agenda, yeah, I could say that would be an open meetings violation. But not having a motion, my friend, I think that's a stretch, a long stretch. Okay,
Again,
Andrew,
just-
go ahead.
Well, I'm just waiting patiently, Mr. McFadden. That's all. Again, I would just simply state that it's an Open Meetings Act issue. It's advertised as, let me find it again, I'm sorry, review and discussion. It's not advertised as an action item. That's my point. If it's advertised as an action item, I agree with you completely, Mr. McFadden. You can make whatever motions you'd like and amend motions and retract motions and all of the above.
So what you're saying, if somebody seconds this motion, who's going to file the Open Meetings Act violation? Because it's a matter that only concerns the school committee.
I'm actually not, I'm the chair and I'm actually not allowing motions on it because it's not on our agenda and I'm following legal counsel.
I don't agree with legal counsel. I think this is very disturbing, and I really think that this is a misrepresentation. However, that said, I can see you're not going to allow this to be seconded. So I'd like this very same exact language to appear in the next meeting for all, when all members are present, because this is a member just for all the school committee members to reflect on, to be considered exactly as I stated in the email that I sent Claudine and Robin Serio and a couple other members of the committee. I don't have everybody's email. Did you get it, Claudine, or you're not looking at your email?
Well, right now I have the school committee screen in front of me with all your faces and your names. So no, I don't have my email
So
in front
your
of me.
email's not open. Is Serio, is Robin Serio on? No.
We didn't get any of your language, Paul, that you want to specifically look at. So you'll need to send that out.
Could I just chime in?
I did send it out.
Oh, I never received that.
All right. So I didn't send it to Hennius, right?
You didn't send it to me, Andrew. I don't know who you sent it to.
I sent it to Serio. Well, I just sent it now. Okay. So you got to open your emails. I didn't send it. I only sent it to those people that I could get a link on the email. So if we're going to have this discussion, then I won't make the motion and we'll have the discussion. How's that? Is that suitable?
Oh, you
Legal?
can absolutely have yeah, absolutely. The only thing I would point out, Mr. McFadden and Chairwoman Pandy, I'm scanning the bylaws as you're talking here. Typically, and I'm not sure about your bylaws, let me be clear. Typically, there's a formal process for revisions to bylaws, but I don't know that to be the case here. I just want to point that out. While you guys are talking, I'll continue to review them. There may very well not be, but typically there is.
Yeah, well, I don't recall that process myself. I can remember getting ramrod. Yeah, I can remember the ramrodding of some of these bylaws. So anyway, so the essence of this is to create term limits on the offices of the school committee. So that is something that's very favorably done these days. The governor of Rhode Island is subject to term limits, as is the president of the United States, as is most of the mayors in Rhode Island. In other words, there's a certain period in which somebody can serve in that capacity in that office. In this case, in the last 20 odd years, 16, but of the 20 last years, 16 years, the office of chair has been held by an individual from West Greenwich. So that's like 80% of the time over 20 years, the chairperson has come from West Greenwich. Over the last 12 years, so that's not consecutive. Over the last 12 years, it has been consecutive years. So in other words, if you look back over the last 12 years of the school committee, of those 12 years, that has also been continuously served by West Greenwich membership. So this is intended to serve as a level playing field between both towns, such as the responsibility of the school committee, chairperson's office, or all the offices, not just the chairperson's office, but all the offices are basically rotated through the towns in some equitable method. I think that currently the longest serving officer that I can ever remember on any public body, and there may be more, is the current chairman of our school committee, and she approaches 78 months in that position. I would like also, again, it's to address fairness between the two towns such that, you know, there's equity here. So the other part of it is that if a person approaches and exceeds the 48 months they can serve in their office, they can't serve in that office for another 24 months, but they can serve on other offices of the school committee. So after 24 months, they could actually return and be selected for the office that they were released from. So they're not removed, they're released. There's a distinction there. I chose the vice chair to take over the temporary responsibility of the office that has been released because normally the vice chair doesn't have any responsibilities. After which, as soon as there's a full school committee next meeting where it's on the agenda, then all the members can then vote on the offices of the released office or offices. So it's intended to level the playing fields between the two towns. There's a little disequity. I think that's pretty obvious. I mean, 16 of the last 20 years, the chairperson has come from West Greenwich. Consecutively, the last 12 years, over multiple chairpersons, right? So it's just not one chairperson from West Greenwich, it's multiple chairpersons. The other offices, strangely enough, they've only served like 4 years or something like that. The other offices, for whatever reason, doesn't seem to have the longevity issue here. So again, it's common practice throughout the country. Even the President of the United States, I'm repeating myself, is subject to term limits, thanks to Franklin Delano Roosevelt. Also, I have another change that I would to discuss, and it's Article 5, Section 4. I would add a sentence that says, the school committee acting with motion in a simple majority vote may override a chairperson's action in the current active meeting. So what that means is that, let's just say the chairperson took some action, not by vote, to against another member, not against another member, about another member, whatever that could be. Maybe he's whatever it could be, you know. So in other words, the individual where the chairperson took action to would have the ability to override the action of the chairperson by a simple majority vote. So in other words, if the chairperson says, Paul McFadden, you know, tie your shoes, and I say, I don't want to tie my shoes, then she says, too bad, you got to tie your shoes. I can appeal her, not her, but the chairperson's direction to the full committee by simple majority vote. I can override the request of the chairperson. So more obviously, if the chairperson decides to remove somebody who's on the school committee for whatever reason, the individual has a right to appeal the removal from the school committee meeting by a simple majority vote of a yay, provided the motion is placed on the floor and it carries. And that's it for me. So I would expect, Claudine, that I will be putting this on the next school committee change committee agenda with action such that the full committee can review and vote on it, the full committee.
Yeah, so
Does anybody have any questions?
send all your, that's not for you to say, Member McFadden, if anybody have any questions. So send all your changes to myself and Attorney Hennius. And
If I have his
and
email,
we'll
I
put
will.
those, you do, because he's on, you have him on emails.
All right. Doesn't mean I have it on this machine.
Okay.
I'll
So
I'll send it to you, Paul, if I have it.
All right.
Thanks, Andrew. So, you know, Member McFadden, this was my concern in the beginning, that you had particular things that you wanted to discuss, and because you didn't give details as to what provisions you want to discuss, I don't know how anybody else could be prepared to participate in the conversation. So my email said, is there a particular provision you would like to review? Members, attorney can prepare for a discussion. If we have more detail on what provisions you'd like to focus on, please let us know so we can place more details on the agenda. And you did not do that, so I don't know how we can participate. So this will be discussed at the next meeting. Member Griffiths?
Thank you. I just had a question, if we could get that in writing, please. The suggested changes, that would be helpful. I couldn't take it all down, writing it all down while you were speaking. So I'd love to see it. Thank you very much for sending that along. Second, I just had a question about the term limit. Is that for just the officer positions, or is it for the committee in general? Just a question. I don't know if that's addressed in the verbiage. It might be. I just didn't get that. So that would be something I'd like explained. And then in regards to the officer positions, I know I'm new, but we voted on them tonight. Are all the officer positions, including chair, I would assume, and from what I read, they were voted in. So this has been a vote for each of these positions for whatever the term has been. Is that correct?
So
is that question for me?
I can
it's
answer
for anyone who can answer.
question.
Andrew?
Yeah, no,
Andrew,
Thank you.
No, I think that that the vote that took place, any amendment to the bylaws would not be retroactive, is the easy way to say that. So if there is a properly advertised agenda, a motion to change the bylaws, and the bylaws are changed, that would be prospective.
Could you explain that to me, Andrew? Because I'm not certain I would agree. But anyway, please, it would not be retroactive. What do you mean by that?
Well, in other words, you wouldn't go back, like any passage of legislation or anything else. You don't go back retroactively. The changes become effective the date of the amendment, for lack of a better term. So let's say at the very next meeting, and I know you emailed me. Our emails just crossed, Paul. So I don't want to misquote your language here. But let's say to simplify it, you're asking to place a 48-month term limit on any office. So that means any person elected going forward from the date those bylaws are amended would be subject to that 48-month time limit.
Well, that's your interpretation, Andrew, not mine.
That's certainly fair.
You bet. So there was another question. I wanted to make sure, and I didn't see the answer, so I'll answer it. This is not for the members. The term limit is not for your member seats. This is for the offices of the school committee. So it doesn't affect, like, Paul McFadden as a sitting member of the school committee. That the term limit isn't subject to that, of course. It's only the offices of the school committee, and that's the chair, the vice chair, the secretary. And let me just add one other place of confusion here for some people. It doesn't come under the Rhode Island Board of Elections because these are local offices, so it's not subject to the Rhode Island Board of Elections, which means that it's not under Rhode Island general laws, which means that the school committee can pretty much decide how it wants to run its own meeting, if I may quote our own solicitor office. So I hope that qualified. I think it was Member Monroe, but I'm not certain of your name. But I thought you had a question on membership versus offices, and this bylaw is just offices, not members of the committee. All right.
Okay, any other questions, comments? All right, Member McFadden, you can get those requests to us, and then members, those will be in your package for the next meeting. Okay, we'll go to B, fund balance presentation. We have commit unassigned general funds.
Well, there's a presentation first, so I can go through where we stand with respect to unassigned fund balance. Claudine?
Perfect. Yep, perfect. Thanks, Jim. You're going to share a screen?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, just so everyone knows, when anyone shares a screen, I cannot see all of you. If anybody has any questions, you'll have to say I have a question. I can't acknowledge you because I can't see you. Okay, thanks.
Okay. So this is a presentation that I've given multiple times in the past, but it just kind of walks through where we stand with respect to fund balances. And so I'll review the FY20 fund balance. That was the audited amount that we approved as of June 30th, 2020, was $1,906,654. We are required to maintain 2% per school committee policy. So I used the actual operating budget that was approved by the voters for fiscal year 21, and that equates to 662,731. We have a projected ending operating balance, the 2021 projected ending operating balance, which is from today's school committee report that Bob has already gone over. This is different than what you have. I know I put this presentation in the packet, but since the presentation was printed, Bob updated the projected operating balance, so I plugged that new number in there. The school committee for the 2019-20 budget agreed that $320,900 would come from the surplus and be placed as a budget revenue to offset the charge to the towns, and that was to address the budget concerns that we had for this year, given the vote that we had. So we have, throughout the course of this year, we have committed $300,000 to capital projects housing aid. That was a school committee vote on January 26th. We also assigned from unassigned fund balance for the truck and the scrubber, $45,000. And then we unassigned some remaining money that had previously been assigned for an energy services consultant. The actual expenses came in less than what the school committee had assigned, so we plugged that back in. That means that we are projecting, as of this date, an unassigned fund balance on June 30th of 21 of just shy of $800,000. And that's because we are required to maintain the 2% balance, right? So that's on top of this. So now we look ahead to FY22, which begins on July 1st, less than a month away. We are projecting a fund balance of $1,458,853, and that is basically the $796,122, which is our unassigned fund balance, plus the amount of money that we're required to keep for the 2%. So if we add those two together, it should add up to the $1,458,853. That's where that comes from. And then in tonight's meeting agenda, you'll see coming up, we are going to ask that the school committee commit an amount of money to capital reserve school improvements. And there are some reasons, some small projects and improvements that we're looking for. That will also be a vote of the committee, so more on that in a little bit. We are, again, required to keep the 2% for 2% of the operating budget. And so we use the approved school committee budget and the approved town budget of $33,701,225. So that's what we're required to keep. We have also, as part of the budget for next school year in FY22, the school committee used $250,000 from unassigned fund balance and plugged it in as a revenue for the 22 budget. That was approved as well. So we are looking at this point, projecting at the end of FY22, a total unassigned amount of $459,828. Again, these numbers will change on a monthly basis, but I try to present this to the committee several times throughout the year so you can see where we stand. Now, if we look at the separate accounts that we have school housing capital. So we had a FY20 audit balance of $369,405. That was per the final audited report as of 6/30/20. We, in FY21, did receive some additional reimbursements for projects that were completed in 19 and 20, small amount, $16,064. And that was just some remaining reimbursements beyond the PAYGO money that we received that had to do with bonuses. The school committee on January 26th committed $300,000, and so we had a total of $685,469 available for projects this year. From that, we again, there are some votes of the school committee where we paid some architectural fees. We had the Wawalum boiler at the Metcalf Safety Project and some electrical repairs. Those are all the expenses for this year. And that leaves us with a balance at the end of 21, a projected balance of $406,694. That would carry into FY22. Sorry. Yeah, here we go. That would carry into FY22, $406,694. We are expecting an additional $101,728 in reimbursement for projects that were completed in FY20 and 21, the boiler and the Metcalf safety projects. And that would leave us just over $500,000 available for capital improvements. And this is separate from the bond. These are for other things that pop up that we know, it happens every now and then. We had a conversation about OPEB as well. There was $275,000 that was committed by the school committee in 2016 to an OPEB trust. The committee reversed that commitment on February 9th of 21 and then committed it to an OPEB reserve. And so there's the difference between a trust and a reserve, as we discussed at that meeting. We also made a withdrawal from the WB and committed it to post-employment benefits, the OPEB reserve amount. So an additional 500,000 added together, that left us with 775,000. And then we assigned as a revenue during the FY22 budget development process, $164,948 from that OPEB reserve account that we have. And so we still are left with $610,052 in that line. And that is something that we could access as needed going forward during the budget development process for post-employment benefit expenses. So we also have a capital reserve school improvements account. We don't really ever have a lot of money in that, but it's to address smaller projects as they come up. And so tonight we've asked that the committee could commit $75,000 to that account. We have a balance in that account of $6,768. That is the final audited balance as of 6/30/20. There were no actions that were taken in FY22 from that account, but we have a number of expenses. Again, they are all in the packet to be voted on if the school committee approves, to come out of that $75,000 or the $81,768 in total. We have a water treatment plan that is a RIDO requirement, Department of Health requirement. We have some water tank inspections, again, a RIDO requirement. There is an upgrade to the data center backup unit. There is, we actually got a gift from one of the classes, an alumni group, of a substantial gift towards an electronic sign, an LED sign in front of the junior senior high school instead of that wooden one that we have. It would allow us to plug messages in from the office, and it's more modern. We are about $5,000 short for that to be taken care of, so we're asking for that. And then we, as you know, we have the 3D printer at the junior senior high school, where they're going to do some prosthetics and other things, but it requires a plexiglass enclosure for safety reasons. So we have a bid on that as well, or a quote on that as well, I mean. So in total, there are about $42,000 worth of expenses that would come out of that account, and it would still leave us with just over $35,000 for other unanticipated smaller school improvement type projects that come up throughout the course of the year. So all in all of our accounts, we are in really, really good shape, projecting balances in all of them, and also allowing us to continue with ongoing improvements and ongoing requirements that come to us pretty regularly. That's what I have. I don't know if anyone has questions.
Okay, I got everybody back up now. Questions, comments for Jim? Thank you, Jim, for the presentation. Everybody's good? Okay. All right, we'll go to B1. So if we can have a motion to commit $75,000 from the unassigned general fund balance to the Capital Reserve School Improvement Fund for school improvement expenses. We can have a motion.
So moved.
Griffiths moves. Do we have a second?
Second.
Allen seconds. Any further discussion? Everybody's good? Okay. I'll take a roll call vote. Member Allen?
Aye.
Member McFadden?
Aye.
Member Monroe?
Aye.
Member Pasillo?
Aye.
Member Griffiths?
Aye.
Member Holderman?
Aye.
And I'm an aye. Motion carries. Okay. Jim, can we go right to number 2? I'm assuming the presentation covered everything that needs to be done here, correct?
Yeah, and there was an enclosure in the packet too that Bob produced.
Yes.
Pretty much aligns with the presentation that I gave.
Yep. Okay. So if we can have a motion to assign the amount of funds necessary, but not in excess of the available capital reserve school improvement fund balance for the purposes of funding school improvement projects. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Allen
Diane.
moves. Yep. Do we have a second?
Second.
Griffith seconds. Okay. Any discussion? Everybody's good? Okay, I'll take a roll call vote. Member Allen?
Aye.
Member McFadden?
Aye.
Member Monroe?
Aye.
Member Pasillo?
Aye.
Member Griffiths?
Aye.
Member Holderman?
Aye.
Okay, and I'm an aye. Motion carries. Okay, we have award service contract bids, discussion action. We have 2 of these. We'll take the first one, property and liability insurance. Bob?
Yep. So this is for the the annual renewal for the property and liability. The memo to the school committee and the superintendent shows that it's about a 2% premium increase over last year's premium. This covers, for the committee members who are new, this is all the property and liability. So this is for the vehicles that we own. There's cybersecurity, drone insurance, all the buildings, capital And so it's a pretty comprehensive policy. The trust is very good. I would ask that the committee members are aware of the last page, which is an annual, the discussion that I have with the trust regarding their capitalization exit fee. And really, while the increase over last year was a 2% increase, if you figure in a $32,000 capitalization exit fee, you're actually netting about a 27% increase in our property and liability if we were to exit. Having said that, in order to bid and entertain a bid that would net us zero or make the bids equal, a competitor would have to be a low bid on the magnitude of $32,000, unless there is a conscious decision to say we're going to put aside $32,000 as a district, and we're going to get out from underneath the this exit capitalization fee issue. I find it fundamentally repugnant, but that's just me, because it kind of holds us hostage to the trust, because we have to pay that $32,000, and there's no way to even determine how they came up with that number. It's just in their alchemy done by their finance committee within the trust. So as a result, the last time we went out to bid, probably 5 years ago, when we actually had competition bidding on it, there's been nobody competing since. I just wanted the committee to know that. Okay.
Very good. Thanks, Bob. Any questions, comments on the property and liability insurance? Everybody's good? Okay. So if we can have a motion to award the Rhode Island Interlocal Trust the property and liability insurance coverage contract for an annual premium of $133,514 for the contract period 7/1/2021 through 6/30/2022.
So moved.
Priscilla moves. Do we have a second?
Second.
McFadden seconds. Okay. Take our roll call vote. Member Allen?
Aye, but I just want to agree with Bob. I hate being held hostage every year.
Yeah. Member McFadden?
Aye.
Member Monroe?
Aye.
Member Pasillo?
Aye.
Member Griffiths?
Aye.
Member Holderman?
Aye.
Okay, and I'm an aye. Motion carries. Thanks, Bob. Okay, then we'll go to the
Thank you.
workman's compensation insurance.
Yep.
Bob?
Again, this is the annual renewal for our workers' comp. This is covers any of the injuries that occur to employees while at work. Beacon Mutual they have pretty much the market in Rhode Island. There's a few other players. They're very competitive. They're very good to us. We use the brokerage of Starkweather and Shepley. They've been very good to us, and that's where I get a lot of the background on the P&L insurance, working with our friends over at Starkweather. So without further ado, this is actually, again, saying they have an incentive program. I'll just say this at the Beacon. The better we perform, you actually see reductions in your premium. So this year, we had a better claims experience, and the quote is about a 2.25% reduction over the 2021 premium. So those are the kind of people we like to do business with.
Yep. Okay, any questions, comments on the workman's comp insurance? Everybody's good? Okay. So if we can have a motion to award the workers' compensation insurance contract to Beacon Mutual Insurance for the annual premium of $65,494 for the contract period 7/1/2021 through 6/30/2022.
So moved.
So moved.
Priscilla moves. Do we have a second? Diane, you want a second?
Second.
Alan seconds. Okay, we'll take our roll call vote. Member Allen,
Aye.
Member McFadden,
Aye.
Member Monroe,
Aye.
Member Pasillo,
Aye.
Member Griffiths,
Aye.
Member Holderman.
Aye.
Okay, and I'm an aye. Motion carries. Okay, we'll go to unfinished
Thank you.
business. Thanks, Bob.
Thank you, everyone.
Unfinished business 10, we have the Charter Review Committee membership discussion update. We actually don't need votes on these. The chair appoints according to our bylaws. So Jim, if you want to let us know who the community representatives are that stepped up.
Yes. So from West Greenwich, when we sent out the initial request, we had Kathleen Swan. She's been a participant in some of our other activities as well, including reopening. And then we sought additional volunteers. We sent something to the town council, and we also republished it. And Greg Coucher, who used to serve on the school committee, agreed to step up. We did have an additional community member that put in a request, but that came later. And we were, we had already received these two, and I wasn't sure that we were getting another one. So those are the two that we're recommending.
Okay.
Then from Exeter, we actually had 3 individuals that sent in a request, and then one of them withdrew his request to serve on the committee. So we are left with Carol Spalding. She is a resident of Exeter, a member of the PTA. In fact, she serves as president. And then Kevin Miller, who again, a resident of Exeter, has served on some public boards as a volunteer in the past, including a local charter school board. So we have 2 community members who are both parents of children in our district from Exeter, and 2 community members from West Greenwich who have volunteered. That's my recommendation.
Okay, excellent. Okay, so we'll appoint from Exeter, Carol Spalding and Kevin Miller, and from West Greenwich, Greg Coucher and Kathleen Swan. Okay, Jim, you'll notify them?
Yes.
Okay. Very good. And then school committee representation. So we'll need 1 school committee member from Exeter and 1 from West Greenwich to be on the committee. Exeter, who would you like to be on the committee? Exeter members.
I will.
Okay, Member McFadden, Member Allen, Member Holderman, Member Pasillo, you're all set. Member McFadden representing Exeter.
That's fine with me.
That's fine with me.
On here.
Okay, Member McFadden will represent Exeter on the committee. Well, represent the school committee on the committee from Exeter, and then a West Greenwich member to represent the school committee as the West Greenwich school committee member.
A volunteer.
Member Monroe, you'd like to say, Member Griffiths, you're good with Member Monroe?
That's great. Thanks.
Okay, very good. Member Monroe, thank you. Okay.
And Claudine, the West Greenwich Town Council appointed Lee Kissinger as their representative, and the Exeter Town Council did not take a vote in their public meeting, but I did get a note from the clerk saying that Michael LaFave, who's the vice chair of the Exeter Town Council, has agreed to serve.
Okay. All right. So, Jim, if you could notify everyone, and then we'll start getting that committee in motion. Very good. Okay, we will go to the budget discussion, 21-22 budget discussion. I don't know who's got the lead on this, Jim or Bob?
Yeah, I have it.
Okay.
This happens every year, and I've been mentioning this along the way. The budget gets approved by the school committee really early in the process. It then goes to the voters in April, and we have an approved budget amount, right? But then between that April event and the end of the fiscal year, this fiscal year, which ends on June 30th, lots of things happen. We have changes that have occurred. We have teachers that have decided to retire, take a leave of absence. We have job share requests. We have a better sense of which kids are actually attending charter schools or coming into our school from other districts. Just all of those changes that occur. We have more vendor contracts that have been approved. And again, prior to that, it was all an estimated guess. So as these changes occur, we continue to build them into our budget system. And I always, in June, with the help of Bob and Tish and the rest of the administrators, we make sure that the end result is a budget that reflects the changes that have occurred between the time that the budget was voted on and the present time, but it still matches the bottom line number that was approved by the voters, right? It's just the line number changes that have been adjusted based on all these things that have occurred between then and now. So every change that you've approved, between a leave of absence, a retirement, all of those things are built into this. And all of the contract changes that you've approved, including the vendor contracts, like the 2 that we just approved tonight, all of those adjustments are built in as well. So this is it's really just reflective of the FY22 budget with the adjustments that we know of that have occurred along the way, but it still matches the number that was approved by the school committee and the town council. So we do this every year.
Yeah. Okay. Any questions, comments? Everybody's good? Okay. So if we can have a motion to approve the revised line item allocations of the 2021-22 budget as of June 9th, 2021.
So moved.
Monroe moves. Do we have a second?
Second, Alan.
Alan seconds. Okay. Any discussion? Everybody's good? Okay, we'll take a roll call vote. Member Allen?
Aye.
Member McFadden?
Aye.
Member Monroe?
Aye.
Member Pasillo?
Aye.
Member Griffiths?
Aye.
Member Holderman?
Aye.
Okay, and I'm an aye. Motion carries. Okay. Thanks, Jim. Thanks, Bob. Okay. Jim, are you ready for the next item?
Yes.
You're good? Okay. So we have the 2020-21 reentry planning update.
So this remains an item on our agenda since the start of the year, and it seems a little funny because we're coming to the close of the school year. But I've basically just been reporting out on changes because every month there seems to be new changes that have occurred. The only adjustment that I can report this month is that we are now at the point where masks are not required outdoors. So kids are now able to go outside for instruction, phys ed, recess, all of the outside activities. They are not required to wear masks. So that has made a lot of the kids and a lot of the parents really happy. We continue to get pushback. Some of the pushback is, I'm going to say, angry pushback about masks in the school buildings, but the requirement still exists per the order of the governor that in the school buildings, masks are required regardless of vaccination status. So we are still following that rule. And but there are some angry people and they've let me know about it. But I just want you to be aware, it's not my call. That's all.
Any questions, comments for Jim on the update? Everybody's good? Okay.
I just have one question.
Oh, go ahead, Diane. Yep.
Yeah, that means so when they're playing sports like soccer and baseball and stuff, they don't need masks because they're outside.
I believe that is true.
Okay.
I don't know if there are individual leagues that might have their own rules, because I think they still can choose to require it, but for us, outdoor activities, no masks.
Great, that's great.
Everybody else all set? Okay. All right. Capital project update, bond discussion.
So as Member Monroe referenced, we've been pretty darn busy, but a lot of it is just logistics and paperwork and things in the background. In brief, there's the bid and the design and the specified product. Then there's what the ATC, the contractor who's been given the job. We're talking the $4.5 million HVAC project at the high school. They then go out and begin to procure and design and come up with exactly what they're going to purchase to install. That gets submitted, gets reviewed, and then gets approved, and then they can go and purchase those items. The big items for the project are the rooftop units. Those are manufactured by Trane, who you probably is the most common HVAC provider in the US. And they are coming out of Indiana. The supply chain has those items arriving in from delivery to install is a 60-day, roughly a 60-day window in putting us at installing those. Those would be the last big items. Everything else that is part of the HVAC will be ordered and put in place while we're awaiting the delivery of those of the rooftop units. But the significant change here is that we had a 8/31 substantial completion date on the bid, and based on the supply chain for those rooftop units, they're looking for a 10/15 2021 substantial completion. So that would be October 15th substantial completion. For everybody's edification, substantial completion means that the units or the system is in place and functioning as designed. So the HVAC project should be in place and running as designed, and then the remaining work is just kind of the commissioning agent making sure that everything is functioning appropriately and kind of the debugging and the shakedown of the system. And I anticipate that will take, it could take 30 to 45 days. It could be less, but just depends on what they run into. So that's significant. So that's a substantial completion date of 10/15. So that means the system should be providing heat for us on 10/15. I could see a school committee member saying, well, what if it's not substantially complete? One of the elements that we are not replacing during this HVAC, because it's almost separate, as part of the heating system, but it's not the ventilation system. We have baseboard heating throughout the building. So we will have rooms that have the baseboard heating. That's probably 95% of the junior, senior high school have that. And we'll be able to maintain some level of warmth and comfort if we go beyond 10-15. And there's always the option of the plug-in portable heaters. But we're pushing hard on the OPM, the owner's project manager. Everybody is still committed to having the project done. So that's the significant news. We're having a kickoff meeting this Friday, and the superintendent and the admin team will definitely have more insight as to that project. Significant.
Very good. Thanks, Bob. Member McFadden, you have a question or comment?
So, Bob, if they do meet 10-15 and there's a ring out period, that's where my confusion is. So, any big project slips even after the re-identified date happens. So, I mean, it won't be as egregious as is it 2 months? Is that the difference here? Was it originally going to be done in August and now it's being done in October?
The beginning of September, so it's like a 45-day swing.
So, yeah, that's big, but and it's starting to get cool at that time of around October around here. So how does the ring out period? I thought, when we went through this whole exercise over at recently Wallalome, when we replaced that furnace, there was a period where the things were installed, and then after that, it was like 2 weeks or 3 weeks where they came in with their own engineers to validate the operational capability of the furnace. I mean, is that what you expect after the 10-15 date to happen?
Correct. That's to Member McFadden's point, this system will be in place. It will be operational, but then there will just be the debugging of the software. There'll probably be different elements of the system that aren't performing optimally as specified. And that's where the commissioning agent comes in and says, these dampers should open and close with this amount of frequency, and they should only pull this much voltage when they're doing that. They go through all of that specification work, and that can take a good period of time. To reference Member McFadden's, to the Wallalome boiler, they actually came and did a 10-month review, which is, again, part of the commissioning agent's job. There's a 10-month review to go over the Wallalome boiler and make any final adjustments, minor tweaks, or whatever. That happens in conjunction with Steve Bailey, and again, this was the architect, was the engineer on that project. So that's the kind of activity. There's heat going, just making sure that the district is getting the optimal efficiency and performance out of the system that we purchased.
So to return to production ready versus the ring out period, if memory serves me right on the furnace, it was a $250,000 investment, and so it took a couple of weeks. This is a $6 million investment, so I would imagine the ring out period is going to be longer than a couple of weeks. And if you said the heater boards are there, and there's my confusion, is this an air exchange thing that we're putting on the rooftops, or is it? Explain to me again. I thought you said when I asked the dumb question, does this provide heat? You said yes, but it sounds like it either does both or it just pushes the heat along. Can you explain to me the difference between the heater boards and the HVACs on the ceiling for me?
So the HVAC system is the heat, ventilation, and air conditioning. And that is applied in when you're in the schools and you see, if you look overhead and you see the big circular ductwork that's in the library, you can see it in other areas of the building. And probably almost every room in office space, you'll see the air registers that are on the ceiling, the ventilation. That is the HVAC system that we're revamping and improving and replacing. Separate from that, but part of the overall heating system of the school is a baseboard heating system. And that's what, many of us might have in our homes. That's the copper pipe running along the baseboard of a room, the water circulating through. In our case, it's the water circulating through, hot water passing through the copper pipe, heating the copper pipe, heating the fans, and creating heat in the rooms. So that system is not being touched at all on this project because it doesn't need to. It didn't need to be done. It's functioning fine.
So I do recall, the pipes that you're talking about in the library, and I know it's either extremely cold or extremely warm, and that thing's not working right. So my question then becomes productivity, production expectation date versus it's just moving along and kind of kicking along, which is consistent with what you were doing with Wallalome. So 10:15, it's starting to get cool, right? You're saying, hey, you know what? The baseboards are going to be there. I don't know if you're saying, but I wouldn't expect you to say that there's never going to be a problem. But it's a concern of mine because if, I could see once it gets November, it's going to get kind of chilly. So are you saying that the ring out period is going to be done as we enter into November, or do you expect like the ring out period to have problems that would require not the whole HVAC system not to be used? I mean, can you reassure us on that? I'm just concerned about the temperature inside these buildings, in spite of the fact that the baseboard heat's going to be there.
Right. And that is that's the discussion that we're having to make sure that there's a clear understanding of what substantially complete means. And the date that they're saying they'll be substantially complete is 10/15/21, October 15th. Substantially complete means that the system is operating as designed, fully functional. It does not mean that it's not without glitches in that it hasn't gone through, what you're saying, the ring out period. That's not what they're saying. But it should be able to provide the heat, and it should be able to provide the cooling and the proper ventilation of all the rooms as designed on 10/15.
Is that the payoff period, the 100% that they're due on their, is it 10/15? Did we agree to that? That's the payoff?
No, we actually make final payment when the commissioning agent, who is an independent body of the contractor and the engineers and the architects, tell us that, they approve the project. And that's done in conjunction with the oversight by the Department of Education.
One last question. Is there going to be heavy equipment in the area when the kids come back from summer? A crane?
That's what we're trying to determine on Friday. We're referring to that for the better of the core of everybody on the school committee, the PIC plan. So the PIC plan is where are they going to locate the crane to place these rooftop units on top of the building. It's a very awkward architectural structure, the roofing is. And so I anticipate that when they begin, whatever PIC plan they come up with, they'll probably be on site for at least 2 days. But whether that happens post summer break or before the summer break, we still don't know that answer yet, Paul.
And you're going to get that on Friday or get them interested in giving you that information?
Correct.
At some earlier date?
Correct.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I apologize, I muted myself. Okay, any other questions? Everybody's good? Okay, thanks, Bob. Okay, we have important dates and meetings. Let's see, we have Tuesday, June 22nd, school committee meeting, Wednesday, June 23rd, the 8th grade moving up ceremony, Tuesday, July 13th, school committee, Tuesday, August 10th, school committee, and Tuesday, August 24th, school committee if needed. And we do not need executive session tonight. So if I can have a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Monroe moves. Do we have a second?
Second,
Member Allen seconds. Okay, I'll take a roll call vote. Member Allen,
aye.
Member McFadden,
Aye.
Member Monroe,
Aye.
Member Pasillo,
Aye.
Member Griffiths,
Aye.
Member Holderman.
Aye.
Okay, and I'm an aye. Motion carries. Thanks, everyone. Have a good night.
Thank you. Thank you, Bob.
Good night.